Okay, so please, can you see my screen now?
No, sir.
No, sir.
No,
Yes,
yes.
sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Please, can you see it
Yes,
too?
sir.
Yes,
Sir.
sir. Okay, so who can remind me where we stopped in our last class? Please, where did we stop?
I think it's still these processes of legislation.
So, which process of legislation were we talking about?
Edits.
Please, which process of legislation?
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Please, are we together? Are we together?
Can I ask a question, sir?
All right, Crown.
I thought last class was on the forms of government.
Eh?
I thought our last class was on the forms of government.
Can I say something?
Kamde, please say
Can I
something.
say something? Okay. Our
Kamde,
last
say
class was
something.
in legislative enactment, and it was an legislative enactment, and we're talking about you stopped in edicts. So, yes, edicts. You're explaining it to us.
Okay, please, Crown.
Can
When
you
did
get
you
me?
join us? Yes, Kamde, thank you. Crown, please, when did you join us?
Sorry, sir. It was a previous
When did-
lesson. It was the previous lesson I went back to get.
Because I know your name is new. I'm not familiar with your name, so there's a chance that you just joined us. So I want to know when
What
you
of
joined
me?
us.
Okay, sir, I've seen it. You talked about edit and decrease in the last class.
Were you in class last week Friday?
I joined late.
Okay. Because this form of government that you mentioned was a very long time ago. In fact, it was not even last week. I don't
that's
think
what
was
I'm
it even
saying.
2 weeks ago.
Sorry?
So I was so surprised when you said forms of government.
Sorry, sir. I went through your last teachings. That's why I forgot.
Okay. All right. No problem. I'm even glad you went through the teaching. So let's now talk about so last class we were able to talk about an act, we were able to talk about decree, and we were able to talk about edicts, right?
Yes, sir.
So we said that an act and laws that are passed at the national or federal level by the legislature. We said that a decree is a law passed by a military government at the national level. An edict is a law passed by the military government at the state or local level. So today, let's move on to we are moving on to bylaws, delegated legislations, and I think that's it. And then we'll talk about processes of lawmaking. So let's start with bylaws. I made a mistake in our last class. I was supposed to, like, after acts, I was supposed to talk about bylaw. The same way we talked about edict after decree, we're supposed to talk about bylaw after acts because they have similarities. Now, bylaws are rules and regulations made by local governments or other subordinate authority. We said an act is a law made at the national level by the by the legislature. Now, that is national level. Now, there are laws that are made at local level too. Now, these laws are also binding at the local level, and it is made by any government in a local government or subordinate authority. They deal with some specific issue in that jurisdiction, in that local government, that locality, in that area. Now, bylaws are laws for the grassroots, and acts are laws for the national or federal level. Please, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So please, can you repeat the explanation?
Made at the
Please,
local.
can you see the explanation? I'm just joining.
Okay. For the sake of those that are, let me see the number of data in class right now. 23. I think that's our normal distance. No, we're up to like 30 last class. But anyway, at least we're above 20. So that's, I can see English is just joining us. Anyways, for those that are just joining us, I said bylaws are laws, rules, or regulations made by local government or other subordinate authorities. We talked about act, that it is made at the national level, at the federal level by the legislature. Now, what of laws that are not made at the national level, that are made at the local level? Bylaws are laws that are made at the grassroots level for that specific local government or that locality. When we have a specific area or a specific jurisdiction, and then a law is made for that specific area, for that specific local government, for that specific jurisdiction, that law is a bylaw. These laws might not be binding at the national level. They might not really have a full force beyond that jurisdiction, but they are still laws because they are applicable in that locality. And if you go against them, you might still be sanctioned, you might still be punished for going against these laws. So these laws that are not at the federal level, that are made at local level or other subordinate authority, they are what? They are called bylaws. They are called bylaws. Please, do you all understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please, who does not understand? Who does not understand what we mean by bylaw? David, are you raising your hand or is it a mistake? David, anyway, I don't know if that is the pronunciation of your name. Okay, I guess David is not with us. So that is what we mean by bylaw. Now let's talk about examples. Examples, so that if you see a bylaw, you'd be able to recognize it. Example is environmental sanitation. Environmental sanitation. At the national level, there is no specific law for environmental sanitation for some specific days or some specific time. But in each local government, there are some days for environmental sanitation. For example, now in my own area now, I think it is Thursday morning. That's when you see that most shops wouldn't open early in the morning. Or is it Thursday, Friday? It should be Thursday. It is Thursday. Most shops will not open early in those days. Now, on Thursdays. Now, if they do, the reason why they stay at home in the morning is because they know if they open, if they don't practice this sanitation, they will be sanctioned, they will be fined, and nobody wants to be sanctioned or fined. So that is an example of a bylaw. That environmental sanitation is a law that is made by local councils or local government. It's not necessarily at the national level, but it is still binding. Anyone that goes against it will still be punished. That is an example of a bylaw. Another example is traffic regulation. Traffic regulation within cities. Traffic regulations within cities. Now, each cities might have their own traffic regulations. There is national traffic regulation that everybody must follow, that every driver must know. That is normal. Now, but each city might have some dynamic regulations for them. For example, now in my own city now, we don't really have there is no overhead bridge in my city. So now rules regarding overhead bridge are not in my city. But if you go to cities like Lagos, where there are a lot of overhead bridges, there are a lot of pedestrian bridges, now you know that there are regulations for that in that city, in Lagos, even though these laws are not applicable in my own city. So these are examples of bylaws. These are examples of bylaws. Please, do you understand, please?
Yeah.
Can the Avecam said, can the judiciary make bylaws? The judiciary don't make laws. The only thing the judiciary make is precedents. Judiciary does not make law, they interpret the law. There's nothing that concerns them with making of law. The only thing the judiciary do is what? Precedent. They can only make precedents. They can't make bylaws. They can't make law. They can't make any type of law. They do what? They make precedent and then they interpret laws. The judiciary does not make laws, please. Please, do you all understand the examples that I gave for bylaws?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that means we can move on to the key points. That means we can move on to the key points. Their bylaw does not have much key points, aside that it is applicable within local government area or jurisdiction. That's one. Two, it addresses issues like traffic, local traffic, street trading, market regulation, waste management, sanitation, what is peaceful coexistence. These are the issues, issues that national laws cannot fix. Those are the what bylaw focus on. Now at the national level, we can't be making laws for street trading, those that trade on the street. It's not possible. But at the local level, we can do what? We can make laws to fix people that trade on the street. We can make law for waste management. We can make law for market regulation, peaceful coexistence, for traffic. That is what bylaws is made for. Do you all understand, please? Do you all understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. There are 23 in this class, and I think I could only hear like 2 or 3 voices. Since what's going on? Is it every day that we have to be calling names? I have to know that you people are here. I have to know you are here with me, or I'm just talking to myself. Please, do you all understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I can hear. Good. Now I can hear more voices. Okay, now moving on. Let's quickly move on to delegated legislation. Now we are already done with acts, bylaws, edicts, and decrees. And I want to believe that those 4, nobody has issue with them. There's no question on them. Am I right, please?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So now, moving on to delegated legislation.
Yes, sir.
Delegated legislation. Okay. Delegated legislation is a very broad topic. In fact, it is in tertiary institution. For example, when I was in university, it was a topic. It was a whole topic in my course. Now, But for the sake of this class, we are just going to like scratch the surface. We're not really go deep into it, but I'm just telling you so that you know that whatever we talk about here is just it's barely even the surface. It's barely even the surface of delegated legislation. So let's go into it. Delegated legislation refers to laws made by bodies or persons other than the legislature. Laws made by bodies or persons other than the legislature. That is, any law that is made by anybody or any person aside the legislature is a delegated legislation. Now, you all know that legislature are in charge of making laws, are in charge of making rules. But now, there are now some laws that are not being made by the legislature. There are some laws that are not being made by the law-making body. This type of law are what we call delegated legislation. So if you have any law that is not being made by the legislature of a state or country, that law is a delegated legislation. Now, under powers, or let me say, this delegated legislation are made under the powers granted to them by the act of the legislature. You know, the act of the legislature is what empower these people or bodies or persons to be able to do what? Make laws, even though they are not what? The legislature. So now, because they are not the legislature and they are making law, this power to make these laws has been granted to them by act of the legislature. That is what we mean by delegated legislation. Please, do you understand what I'm talking about, please?
No, sir. Please come again, sir.
Okay, that's not a surprise. What I'm talking about is the legislature is the body in charge of lawmaking. You all know that, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, they are the ones with the power to make laws. They are the ones with the power to make rules. However, we can have some laws that were not made by the legislature of a country. For example, legislature in Nigeria is the National Assembly. Now, let's not say we now have a law that was not made by the legislature. Remember, legislature is the body charged with lawmaking power. They are the ones that have power to make law. But now we are saying that some laws were not made by them. Now, those set of laws, those set of rules that were not made by the legislature, that was made by other bodies or other persons, those are delegated legislation. Those are delegated legislation. And how come these people or this body have the power to make laws even though they are not the legislature? How come they have this power? They have this power because the legislature has granted them the power to make laws. Now, legislation means making law. Delegated means empowering somebody to do something for you. If I say I'm delegating someone in this class to call the name of those that are in this class, that means I'm empowering the person to do what? To call the names. You know, normally I'm the one with the power to be calling names of people in the class. But now let's assume let me look for a name of someone. Okay, let's say I'm empowering Kamde to what? To call the names of everybody in this class. No, probably we want to know those that are active or those that are ghosting. Now, I not asked Kamde to what? To call those names. That means the power to call names belongs to me. But I am delegating that power to Kamde. I'm giving her the power to do what? To do it on my behalf. So that means that Delegated legislation is the power to make law, which means legislation. The power to make law has been delegated to another body, to another person. That is what we mean by delegated legislation. Please, do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is there anybody that does not understand or that has not gotten the concept of what I'm explaining? Because if you don't get it, I won't be surprised. Like I said, this topic can be, it's okay, it's even